Dr. Jenny from the block, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. So before we get into today's gym, I want to first remind you to please like, share, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you can be alerted when I'm dropping these gyms. Check me out on Instagram at Dr. Jenny from the block, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. So now that we have that out the way, let's jump right into it. Because this topic has been something that I've been thinking about for a while. I just didn't really have the capacity to get into it because it's a complicated, in my mind, complicated issue. And this video is not an attempt to solve anything, but just to kind of throw out my own thoughts about this, because I feel like it's impacting the mental health of Black boys and Black men. So basically, recently I read the Tyler Perry interview in which he was talking about, Black women giving Black men a chance, even those that don't make as much. And this is not what the video is about, but I, read that interview and I was looking at some of the comments, and someone was like, well, Black men should just, how about we tell them to do better? And I'm not here to debate that comment. It's more about what that comment spurred for me. And so, when I'm thinking about Black boys and Black men, I definitely think men in general don't get enough shine on their own mental health. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I talk about mental health from lots of different angles. It's not just about our brain chemistry that impacts our mental health. It's about our society, our communities. It's about the messaging, the upbringings that we get. All the things factor into how well we do in this world and how well we walk through each day, with the ability to care for ourselves. And so when I was looking at the comments and just thinking, I thought about how do we support the mental well-being of Black boys and Black men? How do we support their success so that they can do better? And, a couple of things popped to mind. And I think the first is that, are we giving Black boys and men the space to really live fully and authentically and explore who they are and what they want in their life? One of the examples of that is, where I live in this region in the Pacific Northwest, sports is a really big thing. I'm also a product of athletics. Like, I played sports, organized sports from 9 to 19, everything from AAU to middle school, elementary, high school sports, did it all. And very grateful for that. But what I've noticed is that in my community, the Black community here, I even when I was growing up, I don't remember seeing a lot of Black boys in different programs. So I did programs that taught me how to build bridges, like actual bridges, learn about suspension bridges. I did programs that took me out into, camping or wildlife to have that exposure. And I don't remember seeing a lot of Black boys. But what I do see a lot of Black boys being encouraged to do, pushed to do, or choosing to do is sports. And this is not an anti-sport PSA. But I think what I've noticed recently is that a lot of boys are like pushed into this and really fed this belief, like, this is how you'll make it in life. This is your ticket. This is what you need to do. And when the research, and not even research, the data is out there that, like, sometimes it's even in the single digits how many high school players transition to college, and even a lower percentage of how many college players transition to the league in whatever sport. And so I was thinking about this because, it made me really sit with a conversation I had with a client. Really it was like a one-off meeting that we had. And this was years ago, and I was working at a university, and this particular athlete, D1 athlete, we were talking, and part of his concern was just like being able to get back into the game, to play, to do this thing. That particular year, their team wasn't doing that great. Scouting was low, but talking to him, he just could not articulate or envision a future that didn't include this sport. He was sharing with me that his whole family was depending on him to make it, that he had to, and that if he didn't make it, he failed. And that conversation has stuck with me for years, and I don't think it's a conversation I'm ever going to forget. And I felt so much sadness for him because for his whole life, he had been groomed to do this particular thing that I think a lot of Black boys are told to do, like be an athlete. And he wasn't afforded the opportunities to experience any of his other interests or any of the other things that he could have been good at. And just to sit with that black and white thinking, right? For him, it's like, if I don't make it to the league, I failed. I'm a failure and I have no plan. And this also makes me think about the pressure that families and communities put on black boys and men to follow certain tropes or stereotypes or pathways that don't always make space for their own well-being, their own joy, their own interests, and that they're told that they need to be this type of person to be successful. And so when people are saying, well, do better, who's teaching them to do better? What is our community telling them? How are we supporting them in their next step in their development? Another thing that came to mind for me is also that, you know, when black men are doing things outside of these tropes and stereotypes and expectations we have of them, you know, they get labeled in some demeaning or effeminate way. You know, I recently seen some black men that were like, we hadn't even experienced brunching, and they were like drinking champagne and doing a guy's brunch. And some of the comments were like, ooh, this is sassy behavior. And this term sassy lately to describe men who are just trying to live full lives and have fun or just do things that are not typically black men things is very disheartening to see. And so then what that does is when we're calling men sassy just for living, we are then playing into toxic masculinity. And I always have to educate people and remind them that women or non-binary or other gender specified people can play into those negative internalized beliefs. Like, we can have them and we can be projecting them onto other people. Toxic masculinity is not all about men choosing to be toxic. It's about the socialization around behaviors, right? And so when I see, you know, and I'll call out women on this moment, like when I see other black women calling black men sassy, I feel some type of way about that. Because essentially the message, or at least how I'm perceiving it, is that you're saying your behaviors and what you can do in life is limited to these behaviors, and anything outside of that, you know, makes you effeminate, takes away your manhood, or just makes you less than. And I'm not really vibing with that. That's not really doing it for me, to be completely honest. And it is a point of ignorance, and it is something that some of us need to check within ourselves and really do some bias busting, because bias busting is for everyone. It's not just for, you know, white folks or other people who hold power. So really my point in this video is to not be long-winded. One of my philosophies in the work that I have done as a therapist and as a consultant for equity, diversity, and inclusion is I believe in planting a seed. This video is to get people thinking. It's not to provide a solution, not at this time. I have lots of ideas, but this is not what this is about. But to get people to think about, how are we socializing our black boys and men? How are we supporting their success? What are we telling them about themselves? What are we telling them about their accomplishments? And what ways are we showing up that could be hindering their ability to thrive? So that's the gem I wanted to share with you all today. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. I want to get some dialogue going around this. And if there's enough chatter, I can always do a part 2 follow-up with, I think, more extensive thoughts. But I just wanted to drop this quick gem, and yeah. So thank you for taking the time to watch and listen. If you haven't already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. Turn on that notification bell. And until the next time, y'all take care of yourselves. Okay? Bye.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness.